যে আনিল প্রেমাদান পরম কাচু
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। It is my great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Gujarati Samaj of Houston on the final day of Bhagavad Gyan Yagna. As I explained to you on the first day, Bhagavat means anything related to Bhagavan. Yagna means theoretical knowledge. Gyan means theoretical knowledge. Yagna means sacrifice, work performed to please Lord Vishnu. This yagna, which is a series of religious discourses selected from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, is performed to explore the knowledge about the Supreme Lord Bhagavan. And by the blessing of their worship, Sri Sri Radha Nila Madhava, His Holiness Sri Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj has accepted our proposal and performed this yagna. Through his Amrut Vani, we have gained the Vedic knowledge. We have learned about the self and the universe. We have learned the Bhagavad Dharma, which is the science of devotional service. So, according to the ancient Vedic culture and parampara, disciplic succession, to maintain the real relationship between Guru and disciple, like example has already been set by Lord Sri Krishna and Sandipani Rusi during his pastime. We should offer Guru Dakshina to Srila Gurudev and receive his blessing for advancement of our spiritual life. Because the process of hearing is of prime importance for the advancement of spiritual life. Our intent is to educate our children about Vedic custom. So I request all parents that they should encourage their children also to offer Guru Dakshina as a token of appreciation. Anything that worthy of offering as per Gita will be accepted as a Dakshina, with two main ingredients, love and devotion. Video cassettes, video creates the memory that lasts forever. So we have decided to make available video as well as audio cassette for those who want to imbibe the instructions in their devotional service. Contact Kubirdas in the lobby for more information. Now I would request Ramesh Patel, our member of Executive Committee, to offer garland to Srila Gurudev.
On behalf of Gujarati Samaj of Houston, I'd like to welcome Sri Swamiji and you all. I'm sure that we all have benefited over the last 4 days, and today is the last day of this Sabbath. Thank you.
Today's topic is life and teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chaksulamilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Ca Pandantikam. Over the last days, we have been discussing the glories of Lord Krishna. We have explained about the soul. We have explained about the Supreme Soul, God, Krishna, in his different features, Brahman, Paramatma, and what? What's the third feature? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. We have also explained about karma, reincarnation, changing bodies from one birth to another. We have explained about how God expands himself, how he incarnates, and how he has many servants known as demigods. All of these topics have been covered. And yesterday we spoke about Bhakti, the highest yoga. Devotional service is the means to understand Krishna. Krishna appeared in this world how many years ago? Approximately. How much? 5,000 years ago. And he performed his pastimes along with his associates. And when Krishna was in Vrindavan, he felt great happiness, served by his eternal devotees, Nanda and Yasoda, his father and mother, by his friends like Subal, Sridham, and Madhu Mangal, and by his gopis, headed by Srimati Radharani. After Krishna left this world, and we should not think that Krishna dies, because God does not die, nor actually does he take birth. His appearance and disappearance are like the rising and setting of the sun. Sometimes the sun is within our vision, and sometimes the sun disappears from our vision. Just like now, the sun is overhead because it is noontime. In about 8 hours, the sun will set. But somewhere else, it will be noontime in 8 hours from now, because we know that the earth is always moving, and the sun also is moving, although we may not notice it moving. In any case, it is 12 o'clock now. In 1 hour from now, what time will it be? Come on. 1 o'clock. Will it still be 12 o'clock somewhere else? Where? Maybe in Denver, Colorado. In 1 hour from now, it will be what time? 12 o'clock, right? In 2 hours from now, what time will it be? Here in Houston. 2 o'clock, approximately. Will it still be 12 o'clock somewhere else? Where? In Los Angeles? Right? Because Los Angeles is 2 hours difference in time. So it will be 12 o'clock in Los Angeles in 2 hours from now. What does this mean? That somewhere on this planet, it will always be, what time? 12 o'clock. In the same way, Krishna's Leela is always going on somewhere. Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years ago, and then after approximately 125 years, he disappeared. Does it mean that he is not somewhere else? No. He is always appearing somewhere, just as the sun is always rising somewhere. So we should not think of Krishna's appearance and disappearance as the ordinary birth and death of a mortal person. After Krishna disappeared from this planet, some 5,000 years ago, it was the time for changing of the yugas. The yugas, or ages, are 4 in number. What is the first yuga called? Satya Yuga, the golden age. And after the Satya Yuga comes Treta Yuga, and then Dwapara Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. What is the name of this age? Kali Yuga. Does everyone know this? Okay. In each age, there is a different means of worshiping God. In the Satya Yuga, people used to worship God by performing Astanga Yoga. It's just like you are all sitting in yoga asana. This is a yoga asana. She is even sitting in a more difficult yoga asana. Anyway, everybody's in some kind of yoga asana. So, of course, they are not sitting in a yoga asana because they are more advanced. They're older than you. So, that was the means of means of realization of God through yoga. People would control their breath and move the life force up, 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 and concentrating on the desired goal, they would make the soul come out from the top of the head and go to wherever they wanted. Then in Treta Yuga, the means of realizing God was different. What was it? Through yajna. What kind of yajna? Very, very long, big yajnas. And they wanted to realize God that way. In Dwapara Yuga, what was the method for realizing God? Temple worship. So in the first yuga, yoga. Powerful yogis sitting in meditation for thousands and thousands of years. In Treta Yuga, big sacrifices. Pouring so much ghee, many mantras, giving in charity to those who were poor, and gradually the Yajna Purush, the Lord himself, would descend into the Yajna arena. In Dwapara Yuga, big temples. We still see some of these temples in India. Jagannath Puri and Sri Rangam, and so many other big temples throughout India, built in a previous yuga, when people would go into the temple and perform very opulent temple worship. And finally, in this age, the means of realizing or worshiping God is much more simple. Why? Because in each age, the time that one can live becomes reduced. In Satya Yuga, persons could live for 100,000 years. Therefore, they could do yoga. You see, it is said that Valmiki Muni performed yoga for how long? 60,000 years. In Treta Yuga, people could live for how long? 10,000 years. In Dwapara Yuga, 1,000 years. Just like it is mentioned, even in the Bible, it says that some of the persons in the Bible lived for 900 years, 800 years. It mentions like this. That means that it was just about the beginning or the end of Dwapara Yuga, because the lifespan was decreasing. In the Kali Yuga, how long can someone live for? 100 years maximum. So because the life is much shorter now, the means for realizing or worshiping God changes. In this age, the means to realize God is what? By chanting the holy names of the Lord. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, Kalua nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatir anyata. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Sankirtan Yagna. Today, this afternoon, we will be doing Sankirtan, and we are inviting all of our guests to join us, because in Houston there will be a big festival, and we will be going out chanting and dancing. So why not celebrate this day with us in the evening and come with us and chant and dance and experience the Yuga Dharma, the means of religion for the Kali Yuga, congregational glorification of the Lord through chanting His holy names. Now, when Krishna left this world, the Kali Yuga began. And Krishna was thinking, the whole universe is full of people who worship me with so much respect, so much reverence, great awe. What does this mean, awe and reverence? When you see someone very, very, very important, you feel so respectful towards them. Imagine if the President of the United States walked into this room today. Wouldn't you all be feeling so much respect for him? Or imagine if somehow Mahatma Gandhi could come in here, right? You would all feel so much respect for him. So what to speak of God, the most worshipable, the most respectable of all personalities. Krishna was saying that in the whole universe, everyone feels so much respect for me because no one is greater than God. He said, but because of all of this respect, their natural love is difficult for them to come out with. It is difficult for them to feel natural loving feelings. Just like when the President of the United States is addressing members of his cabinet, they're saying, Mr. President, or the press, when he addresses the press in a press conference, have you seen it? What do they say? Mr. President, they all address him like this, right? But if you go to the president's home, where his wife, children, and grandchildren are they saying, Mr. President, excuse me, sir, Mr. President? No. What are they saying to him? Maybe they're calling him daddy or granddaddy. His children or grandchildren, let's say his small grandchildren, may be playing on his lap. Maybe they're playing like a cowboy and holding a gun to the president's head. Are they thinking that he's the President of the United States? what do they think of him as? Their grandfather? Maybe the grandson is telling the grandfather, the President of the United States, please go down and make believe you're a horse and I will ride on top of you. And he's slapping him on the backside. Get up, get up. So which type of feeling, which relationship does the President of the United States like more? When the press and the cabinet say, Mr. President, Mr. President, or does he like it more when his grandson says, get down on your knees and become my horse? Which do you think he likes more? Which feeling? Huh? You tell me. Say, which do you think? Which do you think is more pleasing to him? To be called Mr. President, or to be addressed by his grandson? How many people say that he likes it more to be with his grandson? Raise your hands. Yes, you are correct. Because why? That is love. Do the U.S. Newspaper reporters, are they feeling love for the president or are they feeling respect? Respect. And what about the grandchildren? They're feeling love. So which is more pleasing? Love. So Krishna was thinking that in the whole universe, all the people who worship me, they always worship me with so much respect. Oh God, they always pray, God is great. God, they're praying like this. But they don't have natural feeling of love for me. He said, but in Vrindavan, there's no such feeling of respect. When Mother Yasoda sees me doing something like stealing butter from her pot and feeding it to the monkeys, my mother becomes very angry with me. She shakes her finger at me. And if I don't stop it, what does she do? She ties me up with ropes. And when my friends are playing with me, sometimes they are wrestling with me and they defeat me. And because I'm defeated, I have to put them on top of my shoulders and give them a ride around the forest. And when the gopis are dancing with me, and if I tell some joke, they become angry with me and scold me. He said, I like this mood of my pure devotees millions and millions and millions of times more than the respectful prayers of those who worship me with awe. Millions of times more than the prayers of the Vedas. I want to be loved naturally. He was thinking in this way. And while he was thinking in this way, the Kali Yuga, the present age, had begun. And there was a need to teach the Dharma for this yuga. What is the Dharma for this yuga? Nam Sankirtan, chanting the holy name of the Lord. And while Krishna was thinking in this way, he thought, somehow I must come to teach the Dharma of this age, and at the same time, to teach all of the ways of natural love for me. Especially, Krishna was thinking that of all my devotees in Vrindavan, one of them is better than all. How do I say this? Because he could see that although I am the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Enjoyer, I see that there is someone who has greater joy than even I have. And who is that? Srimati Radharani. No one else can surpass Radharani in love and devotion. And nobody else's happiness is equal to hers, even my own. So, I must try to understand, what is Radharani feeling? Because I see that she is feeling more pleasure than I myself. Something about me is attracting her so much. So just to understand the feelings of Radharani. Krishna said, I must come and try to understand. But how can I do it? As Krishna, I will never understand what Radharani is feeling. Unless I enter into her mood of love and devotion, I'll never understand what she is feeling. And at that moment, the time for the Yuga avatar had come. And so Krishna decided that I shall come in the mood of Radharani, with the color of Radharani's body. And I will spread the Yuga Dharma of Nam Sankirtan. And this is the explanation of the Yuga avatar in this age, who is known as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. Lord Chaitanya is known also as Gauranga. Gaura means golden, and Anga means the limbs of the body. His limbs are all golden, just as Radharani's limbs are golden. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vishabhanu Sute Devi, Prananami Hari Priye. Radharani is also golden in color, and so is Lord Chaitanya. So who is Lord Chaitanya? Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Radha and Krishna have combined together in one form as who? Lord Chaitanya. Inside is Krishna, and outside is Radharani. What is the color of Radharani? Come on, wake up. Wake up. Everybody's sitting there like in a daze. So much sleep. I think you're still sleeping. What color is Radharani? Golden. And what color is Krishna? What color? Blue. What color is Lord Chaitanya? Golden. So whose color does Lord Chaitanya have? Krishna or Radharani's? Outside, Lord Chaitanya is Radharani. And inside, Lord Chaitanya is? Okay. When did Lord Chaitanya appear? 500 years ago, approximately. Where did he appear? In Nadia district of West Bengal, in the town of Navadvip, in the village of Mayapur. He was born under a neem tree. A neem tree has got a bitter taste. So everyone thought that since neem is very antiseptic and cleansing, we pray that this child will always cleanse everyone who sees him. And they gave him the name, what? Nimai, because he was born under a neem tree. And he had very wonderful marks on his hands, on his feet. All of the signs of an incarnation of God were shown on his hands and feet. Now, as I have mentioned to you in previous days, there are many incarnations of the Lord. They are not all complete manifestations of God. Krishna, for example, make it a little cooler in here, please. Krishna, for example, I'm going to do this so that you stay awake, because some of you are getting sleepy. So I'm going to make it nice and cool in here. Right? And then you're going to answer all my questions perfectly. Unless I make it so cold that you become frozen. Okay. One time I told you in the past day that God has 64 qualities in the form of Krishna. Narayan and Vishnu have 60 qualities, not 64. There are 4 qualities which Lord Narayan and Vishnu don't have, which Krishna has. Can anyone say what they are? One of them is very obvious. Right. Krishna plays a flute in a wonderful way, and Narayan and Vishnu do not do this. There's another difference. What is that? His beauty. The beauty of Krishna is so much that even Lakshmi Devi, who never leaves Lord Narayan, wanted to be with Krishna. Yesterday I mentioned to you that I would explain this. Lakshmi Devi wanted to be with Krishna. Now someone may say it's not proper because Lakshmi is the wife of Narayan. Why should she leave her husband? But who is Krishna? He's the original Narayan. Is there anything wrong if Narayan, when he is in his most beautiful form, if his wife wants to be with him? Is anything wrong with that? Tell me, yes or no? No. So Lakshmi Devi decided, but what happened? She could not easily do this. So she decided to do tapasya, austerities. She performed austerities for so many hundreds and hundreds of years. But do you know what? She could not get to be directly with Krishna like the gopis are. She wanted to be like the gopis, but she could not. Why? Because she always thought, Narayan is the Supreme Lord, and I am the goddess of fortune. She always thought with great reverence and awe and respect that I am the consort of the Lord of Vaikuntha. She could not think as the gopis thought. What do the gopis think? Krishna, you are a very naughty boy. You are Nanda Maharaj's son. You are always doing so many tricky things. They don't think anything the way Lakshmi thinks. The gopis will be angry sometimes. They will play tricks on Krishna sometimes. Things which the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, can never do. And she could not get in that mood. Therefore, finally, she had to give up her austerities, and it became impossible. And as a result, the Lord, Krishna, gave her a place on his chest as Srivatsa, the sign of Lakshmi Devi. But she could not become a gopi. Everyone is attracted to Krishna because, as I said, of his flute playing, of his beauty. What is another quality that Krishna has, which is unique? His activities, his pastimes. Just like Ras Lila is such a wonderful pastime of Krishna. Even Lord Shiva wanted to come in the rasa dance. Did you know this? But he could not do it. He also had to do tapasya. So he did so much tapasya. Why can't Lord Shiva come in rasa dance? Because he doesn't have the form of a gopi. He has a male form, right? The form of a man, not an ordinary man, but a male form. And no male form can enter into the Ras Lila because there's only one supreme male. And who is that? Krishna. So Lord Shiva had to take his bath in a sacred kund. And after doing tapasya and praying and praying and praying, finally he got the form of a gopi. Shiva became a gopi. And Krishna immediately became so happy. And all the gopis saw this wonderful gopi coming. And they wondered, who is this gopi? And then gradually it was revealed who it was. But this is Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva was given a special position in the rasa dance. He was told that you may stand at the edge of the circle of the rasa dance, and anyone who tries to enter into this rasa lila without your blessings and permission cannot come in. So this form of Shiva is known as Gopeshwar Mahadev. If you go to Vrindavan, you will see there is a temple of Gopeshwar. And in this temple, every evening, the pujaris dress Lord Shiva in a sari, and Lord Shiva becomes a gopi. So Krishna's pastimes are so special. Can Lord Narayan have such pastimes? No. Does Lord Narayan have affectionate dealings with a father and mother? Have you ever heard of Lord Narayan's father? Can you imagine Vishnu's father? Now so many people know about Vishnu. Have you ever heard, what is the name of Vishnu's father? What is the name of Narayan's father? No. Because there's only Dasya Bhav. There's only the mood of a servant. Nobody has the mood in Vaikuntha of father or mother of Vishnu or Narayan. They only have the mood of servant, Das or Dasi. But no one thinks, I am Krishna's father and mother. I am Narayan's father and mother. Do you ever hear of anyone wrestling with Vishnu or Narayan? Certainly not in Vaikuntha. So there's no pure mood of Sakya or friendship. And even Lakshmi Devi, she also stays always at the feet of Lord Vishnu or Narayan, right? But what about the gopis? Do they stay at Krishna's feet? You say yes, but actually no. They don't do that. Sometimes Krishna gets a headache. Why does he get a headache? He says, I have got such a bad headache. The only thing that's going to remove my headache is the dust from the feet of my devotees. But they can't find anybody who will put the dust from the foot on top of Krishna's head. But there's one group of people who will do it. Who are they? The gopis. Why does Krishna get a headache? Tell me why. Is it because he has too much work to do? We already said Krishna doesn't do any work. Why Krishna is getting a headache? Because he wants to put his head at somebody else's feet, the gopis' feet. You think that Lakshmi would ever let Lord Narayan do this? Certainly not. So, flute playing, beauty, pastimes, and what else? His devotees. Now we have explained that Krishna's devotees are so unique and special, there is no equal to them. So these are 4 qualities which Krishna alone has. Now, Narayan, Vishnu has 60 qualities. Ram, 60 qualities. Not the last 4. Shiva, Brahma, 55 qualities. And we have up to 50, but only in a small degree. But Lord Chaitanya, how many qualities he has? He has all 64. This is a very important point. The reason why this is an important point is to understand that Lord Chaitanya is actually Radha and Krishna. This is the real point I'm making. Now if you say, you mean Lord Chaitanya played a flute? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that within his consciousness, he relished the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Ras Leela, of Krishna's flute playing. All of these things came within the internal consciousness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore it is said that all 64 qualities were experienced in Lord Chaitanya. So he is Swayam Bhagavan. Nothing less. His body was wonderful, as I said, all different qualities of the Lord were manifest in them. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed many wonderful pastimes. For example, when Lord Chaitanya was a small boy, a child, only a baby, he was crawling on the ground. And what was there? A huge snake. And what did Lord Chaitanya do with the snake? He immediately took it and wrapped it around himself. And all of his parents and family members, they began to shriek, "Don't do that, Nimai!" But what was Lord Chaitanya thinking? What was Nimai thinking? He's saying, this snake is not an ordinary snake. Do you know whose snake this is? Not Lord Shiva's snake. When you see Vishnu, Vishnu is lying on a snake. What is the name of that snake? Huh? Sheshnak, Ananta Shesh. This Ananta Shesh came into the courtyard of Lord Chaitanya's father, Jagannath Mishra, and mother Sachi Devi, in order to allow Nimai to sit on him. So the scriptures inform us of this. Sometimes we see that Lord Chaitanya used to cry. Now it is very common that babies cry, isn't it? Do any of you have younger brothers and sisters? Do they cry sometimes? Well, Lord Chaitanya used to cry, but do you know why he used to cry? Because he wanted all of the ladies to chant Hare Krishna. And when the ladies would start chanting Hare Krishna, then he would smile, he would dance, and he would begin to clap his hands. And as soon as they stopped saying Hare Krishna and singing Hare Krishna, what did Lord Chaitanya do? Start to cry. Why was he doing this? Because remember, he's the Yuga avatar. So even from the time he was a small infant, he was already teaching everyone, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya was born to two Brahmins. And naturally, they used to decorate his body with so many ornaments, golden ornaments. Just like some of you are wearing some nice ornaments. Gold earrings, gold necklace. What are the boys wearing? Golden eyeglasses. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya was dressed with many ornaments. So one day, two thieves came. Two big thieves. And they grabbed him and they started to run away with him because they thought, we're going to steal his jewelry. But Lord Chaitanya could immediately understand what was in their mind. And he tricked them. They ran for 3 or 4 miles. And when they finished running, do you know where they ended up? Right in the same place where they began. Lord Chaitanya made them so confused that they brought him right back to their house. Lord Chaitanya sometimes was eating dirt, clay. And his mother said, why are you doing this? Lord Chaitanya said, well, sometimes you give me puris and vegetables to eat. And puris and vegetables grow from the earth. So what difference does it make? I will eat earth or I will eat puris and vegetables. It is all the same. Lord Chaitanya's mother, Sachi, said, who has taught you this nonsense philosophy? That eating clay is the same as eating nice puris and sabji. Who has taught you this? He said, well, this is a good philosophy. She said, it is a nonsense philosophy. Because puris and sabji will make you very strong, but eating clay will give you a bellyache. And it is not the same. And then she gave a practical example. When you take the clay and it dries in the sun, it becomes a cup. And you can drink water from it. But when the clay is still wet, if you put water in it, will you be able to use it as a cup? No. So in this way, Sachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, began to explain very clearly to him that although everything is one, it is also different. You remember earlier on in one of our early lectures, we explained that some philosophers say everything is one. Right? Everything is sarvam kalvidam brahma. Everything is Brahma. But we say everything may be Brahma, but Brahma is differentiated. There's Param Brahma, the Supreme Lord, and I am Aham Brahmasmi. I am also Brahma, but I am not Para Brahma. And there is the material energy also, which is certainly not the same as the spiritual energy. So Sachi Devi, from a very young age, was teaching her son the philosophy which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eventually make very clear to the world. What is Lord Chaitanya's philosophy called? Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. What does this mean? Achintya means inconceivable. Veda Veda, one and different. Everything is one, everything is Brahman, and yet everything is different. One and different. Puris and vegetables are clay originally, but after a while they are different. So you can't say there's no difference. Because if you start eating clay, you'll get sick. So this philosophy of just saying one, Brahman, 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 is not a complete philosophy. One day, a Brahmin came to Nimai's house, and he began to offer food because Lord Chaitanya's father had a deity in their home. How many children have deities in their house? Raise your hand. Very good. So once there was a visiting Brahmin, and Lord Chaitanya's father said, you can cook for this Brahmin and offer you can cook for this deity of Krishna and offer food. So the Brahmin was a devotee of Krishna. He cooked and he made a very nice food stuff. What did he cook? Puris, halava, what else? Rasgulla. What did he cook? Some rice. So many things he cooked. And when all the cooking was done, what did he put on each type of food? Tulsi leaf. Tulsi patra. Will Krishna eat anything if there's no tulsi leaf? Yes or no? How many people have tulsi in their home? Oh, very good, very good. Do your mothers put the tulsi leaf on each type of food before they offer it? Do you eat anything that is not offered first to Krishna? How many people only eat food which is first offered to Krishna? Raise hands. Uh-oh. Somebody didn't raise their hands. Anyway, from now on, you should ask your mother, did you offer this food to Krishna? And if she says no, what will you do? Louder. Thank you. You say, would you please offer it to Krishna first? Right? Why? What happens if we eat food which is not first offered to Krishna? Do you know what the Bhagavad Gita says? Then there is some sin. Because when you take vegetables, you have to kill them, right? Right? Now, if you don't offer them to Krishna, then who is going to get the reaction for killing those vegetables? The person who eats them. Right? If you kill somebody, what do you think will happen to you? There'll be some punishment, right? Right? So if you eat food which is not first offered to Krishna, what will happen to you? Do you want to get punished? Do you think your mother wants you to get punished? So you should tell her this, right? She probably heard today also. But you can remind her in case she forgets. So, the Brahmin, remember we were saying, he was cooking and he offered everything to Krishna. And when the offering was on the altar, what happened? Little Nimai, little Lord Chaitanya, what did he do? He crawled over to the food and began to eat it right off the altar. The Brahmin went, oh, no, what did you do? And he woke up, Lord Chaitanya's father said, look what your son has done. The Lord Chaitanya's father said, you shouldn't do this. This was meant for Krishna. So he begged the Brahmin, please cook again. And the Brahmin did all the cooking. How long does it take your mother to cook? How much? 1 to 2 hours. So 1 or 2 hours he was cooking all over again. And it was just as hot as it is in this room. And when he finished cooking, he made the offering. What did he put on each type of food? Tulsi leaf. And he started to say his prayers. And when he was saying his prayers, dun, 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 in came little Nimai, and again he ate everything. Oh, this time the Brahmin couldn't believe it. He started to even scream. Jagannath Mishra woke up. What happened? What happened? Your son has done it again. He spoiled my offering to Krishna. Jagannath Mishra begged Nimai, please go to sleep. You have already eaten enough. You're not a skinny boy. We're not starving you. Please don't do this. And he begged the Brahmin cook again. So the Brahmin began to cook all over again a third time. And by this time it was really getting hot. Isn't it? It was getting so hot. And finally the third offering was ready. And before that, on each type of food, what did he put? Now 3 times I have told you. Always put tulsi. Right? Okay. So, in came little Nimai, and he began to eat. And this time, the Brahmin just completely lost his patience. And he began to scream and sob and beat his head. And then Lord Chaitanya said to him, my dear sir, every time you're cooking for Krishna and you are calling, Krishna, please come and eat. He said, don't you know who I am? And then right in front of the Brahmin, Lord Chaitanya turned into Krishna. And then the Brahmin realized that this boy, who appears to be the son of Jagannath Mishra, is actually the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna himself. And then Lord Chaitanya explained to the Brahmin why he has come in this form. But he told him, don't tell anyone about this. So this is very important for us to understand that Lord Chaitanya is not different than Krishna himself. As Lord Chaitanya became older, he became a great scholar. And what was he called? Nimai. What's a very intelligent person called? Pandit. Pandit. Even in English they have this word, Nimai Pandit. So Nimai Pandit became the best scholar. And he was able to defeat all others. Once there was a great scholar who came named Keshav Kashmiri. He was Digvijay. He was a Pandit who had conquered in all directions. And now he had come to Navadvip to challenge all other scholars. Because in Navadvip there were many scholars. And this Keshav Kashmiri wanted to show, no one is better scholar than I. So he began to discuss with Nimai Pandit on the bank of the Ganga, because Navadvip is where? Right next to the Ganges. How many of you have gone to Navadvip? Raise your hands. None, no children have gone. I think we must take you there sometime. How many want to go there to see Lord Chaitanya's birthplace? Let's see. How many people want to go to Disney World? Raise your hand. Haribo. Oh. Remember what I told you? Inside the heart, there are so many little mustard seeds. And each one of those mustard seeds, what is it? A material desire, a cloud, right? An anartha. What is one of the big clouds? Wanting to go to Disney World. As long as you have a strong desire to go to Disney World, do you think that you will be able to go to Navadvip, to Mayapur? No, I don't think so. Anyway, you will see. You will go to Navadvip, you will go to Disney World, and then after a while you will say, no, it is not so great. So, this Digvijay, Keshav Kashmiri, had come. And he was such a great scholar that Lord Chaitanya said to him, my dear Keshav Kashmiri, we have heard that you are the best of all scholars. Hey, be a Pandit. What is a, you know how to spell Pandit? P-A-N-D-I-T. Now if you change the P and you add a little more loop, what will it be? Bandit. Don't be a bandit. Pay attention now. Right? Are you ready to pay attention? Because if you're not, we're going to make you stand up in the corner. Do you want to stand up in the corner? We're going to put you on a chair. You have to stand on a chair and everybody will look at you. That'll be a good thing. So, Lord Chaitanya said, you are such a great Pandit that we would like you to recite some verses praising Goddess Ganga. Immediately, Keshav Kashmiri composed on the spot 100 Sanskrit verses, non-stop, just like Brihaspati, non-stop. And everyone was astonished. And then he said, how did you like that? Lord Chaitanya said, it is wonderful, truly wonderful. However, if you will permit me, I will point out some things to you. And then, to the amazement of Keshav Kashmiri, Lord Chaitanya began to recite back certain of the verses which he had perfectly memorized. Can you imagine? And he pointed out the defect, one after another, in so many of the verses. And Keshav Kashmiri, who was this big, he became this big, this big, this big, until he felt that he was about this big. In other words, Lord Chaitanya smashed his pride. That night, Keshav Kashmiri prayed to the goddess Saraswati. Because he was a devotee of Saraswati, he had been blessed that whenever he spoke, Saraswati would personally come on his tongue and speak for him. My dear goddess, you have never failed me in the past. How have you allowed me to be humiliated by a young boy like this, Nimai Pandit? And then, what happened? Saraswati Devi herself said, my dear Pandit, you should understand who this Nimai is. He is my Lord and Master. I am only his maidservant. He is the Supreme Lord himself. And then Keshav Kashmiri understood. The next day, he surrendered himself at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed him that he would be able to go everywhere in the world and become a great victorious devotee of the Lord, glorifying the Lord always. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then got married. Why? Because he had an elder brother. He had an elder brother who had taken sannyas. And in fact, Lord Chaitanya's mother and father felt so bad. Why did they feel bad? Because the elder son had taken sannyas. Do you think the father and mother want to see their children become a sannyasi? Huh? Do you think your father and mother want you to be a sannyasi? I don't think so. So Lord Chaitanya said, oh, my dear father and mother, don't worry, I will not be a sannyasi. I won't take sannyas. And then what happened? Lord Chaitanya's father died and went back to Krishna. Who is Lord Chaitanya's father? What is his name? Jagannath Mishra. And who is Jagannath Mishra? Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj. And who is Lord Chaitanya's mother? Sachi Devi. And who is she in Krishna's pastimes? Yasoda Devi. So now there was only Nimai and Mother Sachi. So Lord Chaitanya thought, if I'm staying at home, then I should get married. And so he married Lakshmi Devi. Who was Lakshmi Devi? In her previous time, she was Rukmini. And before that, she was Sita. And before, she was the goddess of fortune. So Lord Chaitanya married her. And it was a very nice marriage, attended by so many others. And so Lord Chaitanya lived in Navadvip. Who were some of his associates? Nityananda. Who is Lord Nityananda? Balaram, the elder brother of Krishna came as Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is doing so many wonderful things. So together we are worshipping them. Do you see them on the altar? On the right side? Here they are. Look, Lord Chaitanya is on which side? This side or this side? Right, this side. And Lord Nityananda? This side. Ah, this is like a dance. Like a Bharatanatyam dance. So, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, right? Who was another famous associate of Lord Chaitanya's and Nityananda's? Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is elderly. And who is he? He is Mahavishnu and Shambhu, Shiva. He is a combination of Mahavishnu and Shiva, Advaita Acharya. Why is Advaita Acharya very famous? Because it is he who called Lord Chaitanya to descend. Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu is responsible for all of the conditioned souls who are in the material creation. And he was thinking that now so many people are sinful, so many people are rejecting God, and even those who say they believe in God, they're simply talking so many rules and regulations about logic and reason. They don't have any natural love. How can this situation be corrected? Unless Krishna himself comes, there is no hope. So Advaita Acharya remembered a verse, and he said, the best way to worship the Lord is by offering Ganges water and Tulsi leaves. So he began to offer Ganga Jal and Tulsi Patra again and again, calling Krishna, 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 Krishna. And by the calling of Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya descended. So we owe Lord Chaitanya's coming to this world to Advaita Acharya. Who is another famous associate of Lord Chaitanya? Gadadhar Pandit. Who is Gadadhar? Radharani herself. Radharani herself has come as Gadadhar. So Lord Chaitanya and Gadadhar always very, very close to each other. And finally, Srivas Thakur. Who is Srivas Thakur? Someone that we have been telling you so many times about. Famous sage who is always traveling in the air. Narada Muni. Narada Muni. And who are these five together? We are calling them what? Pancha Tattva. Panch means five. Tattva means truth. So what is the famous mantra we recite? Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Who is Gaur Bhaktivedanta? All the devotees of Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya. And this is called Panchatattva mantra. What is the special thing about this mantra? When you chant Krishna's name, I told you that there are some aparat that you may do. Remember, if you chant the name of Krishna, thinking that I will chant and neutralize my sinful activities, is that chanting very good? No, it is offensive. But when chanting the names of Panchatattva, there is no offense. So the special advantage is, in this age, if you chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta, there will be no offense. Then you can chant Hare Krishna mantra better. So we always begin our kirtan by chanting what? Let me hear. Chant, chant. And then what do we chant? Hare Hare. Right. So these are all very important. And one more important devotee of Navadvip, Haridas Thakur. Who is Haridas Thakur? Brahma. And who else is he the incarnation of? Prahlad Maharaj. You understand? Whenever the Lord comes, he must come with all his famous devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not come alone. When the President of the United States visits Houston, does he come alone? He comes with so many others. So when Krishna comes, you think he's going to come alone? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, he's not going to come alone. All of the greatest devotees, even Hanuman came. In Navadvip, who is Hanuman? Murari Gupta, the famous physician. He is an incarnation of Hanumanji. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching everyone, chant Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Murari, he said, Murari, chant Krishna, Krishna. So they all tried to make Murari chant Krishna, Krishna. And that night, Murari Gupta went home. And he was simply meditating on Lord Ramachandra. And he said, I cannot give up the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra. But I want to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. So since I cannot give up Lord Ram's lotus feet, I'm going to commit suicide. The next day he told Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya immediately embraced him and said, I was only testing you. I know that you are the incarnation of Hanuman, and that you can never leave the lotus feet of Ram. I was only testing you. So all the devotees came of the Lord and his incarnations. They all came during Mahaprabhu's Leela. And then what happened? One day Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, was trying to teach the students. And he was teaching them in so many ways, and they started to make some fun of him. Because he was actually thinking all the time about Radha and Krishna. He was thinking about the gopis. And so they were laughing at him. And then he thought, this is not very good. If people laugh at me, how will I be able to teach them? So what did he think? I better take sannyas. Sachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, could understand this. In the middle of the night, she remained awake, and she was crying and crying and crying and crying. But Lord Chaitanya said that for the highest purpose, I have to do this. And so he went and took sannyas. And then after taking sannyas, when someone takes sannyas, can they stay at home? Yes or no? No. So he had to ask his mother, what do you want me to do? She said, I beg you one thing. Don't go far away. You live in Jagannath Puri. So on the order of Sachi Devi, Lord Chaitanya went to Puri. And when he went to Puri, he met a great devotee named Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he converted him. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the most famous of all the pundits in Puri. So his fame increased. Lord Chaitanya's fame increased. And the king of Orissa was named Maharaj Patraparuda. He was also a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But what would Lord Chaitanya do? He said, I will not see this king. Why? Because the king is engaged in too many worldly activities. Generally, the sannyasis will not mix with worldly persons. But this king was not an ordinary person. He was a great devotee. He said, I don't mind, I'll give up being the king. I just want to serve Lord Chaitanya. So everyone asked Lord Chaitanya, please accept him. No, wouldn't do it. Then the king sent his son. And the boy came there, and he had a very dark complexion, bluish complexion. And he was wearing a yellow dhoti. Now it is getting quite cool. There's no need of anything. It has become cool. Have you noticed a change yet? Yes. The more we speak about Lord Chaitanya, the cooler, and Lord Nityananda, we will get the cool shade of their lotus feet. You see, this is the truth. When you are feeling very hot, when you are feeling the burning pain of what? What burns? What burns? The sun? No. What is the most greatest burning thing of all? No. Material life. When the material life is burning you more and more, you remember the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and then you will feel very cool. Just like now, we are getting cooler and cooler. Don't make it too cool. So, then the king sent his son, who was wearing a yellow chadar, and his complexion was very dark, and he had eyes like lotus petals. And what did Lord Chaitanya remember? Krishna. And he immediately embraced this boy and he said, "You are a great devotee." Now when the son, the prince, went home to his father, and the father heard that Lord Chaitanya had embraced his son, what did the king do? He immediately embraced his son, and it was as if he was touching Lord Chaitanya himself. Sometime later, it was time for the great car festival, which is called Ratha Yatra. On the Ratha Yatra car, which deities are put? Jagannath, Baladev, and do you see a picture of them on the altar? Can you see? Where are they? Which side? Which side is Lord Chaitanya? Where's Jagannath? Which side? I like to see everybody doing this, dancing. Have any of you taken dancing lessons? How many people are dancers here? Raise hands. You're not a dancer? You should be a dancer. You look like you could be a dancer the way you're moving your hands. So, the Jagannath Rath cart was going, and what happens at the beginning of Rath Yatra? What does the king do? He takes a broom and he sweeps the ground. Now, can you imagine the President of the United States sweeping the street? But the king of Orissa does it. He sweeps the street. Close the door. He sweeps the street for the sake of Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. So, when Lord Chaitanya saw the king of Orissa sweeping the street, then he thought, this king is a wonderful devotee. May Krishna bless him. And as a result of that, gradually he got the association of Lord Chaitanya. Maharaj Patrapurta became a great devotee. And when Lord Chaitanya's fame increased more and more, everyone in Puri and everyone in East India became knowing Lord Chaitanya. And when Lord Chaitanya traveled to South India, he met so many, and he got them all to chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Who is a famous devotee Lord Chaitanya met in South India? Ramananda Roy. Do you know who Ramananda Roy is? The famous Gopi, Vishaka. And Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya began to talk together all about Radha and Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya became so much enthused that he kept Ramananda Roy with him in Puri. Two other famous devotees that Lord Chaitanya met, Rupa and Sanatan. Very famous devotees, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Lord Chaitanya entrusted many important things to them and taught them all the science of love of God. And they became famous teachers. Then Lord Chaitanya decided, I want to go to... Did he want to go to Disney World? Where do you think he wanted to go? Vrindavan. To get to Vrindavan, he had to go through the forest. And what do we find in the forest? So many wild animals. Tigers, lions, giraffes, elephants. What did Lord Chaitanya tell them to do? Chant Hare Krishna. And what did they do? They chanted. Lord Chaitanya made the animals in the forest of Jarikanda stand on their hind legs and dance. Can you imagine a giraffe doing this? Can you imagine an elephant doing this? Standing on its legs and roaring, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They were doing this. The elephants, and they were embracing each other. It was a big kirtan. Is it possible for us to do this? No. But can Lord Chaitanya make animals dance and chant? What can we do? We can make human beings dance and chant. The human beings in this age, are they like animals? They're not? Yes, they are. They are. You have not come to all of our lectures if you say that they are not. What does an animal do all day? What are some things that animals like to do? Eat. What else? Sleep. What else? Fight. What else? Drink water. What else? Anyway, that's enough. Eating, sleeping, fighting, and drinking water. This is what animals do. Right? What do most human beings like to do? Eat, sleep, fight, and drink water. So, what are most human beings? Animals. What is a human being? What can a human being do that an animal cannot do? Huh? Talk. Animals talk. Do you have a parrot? If you have a parrot, they talk. Animals can talk, you just don't know their language. Dogs talk all the time. You just cannot understand their language. What can a human do that an animal cannot do? A human being can love God. A human being can chant Hare Krishna. Understand? So, when Lord Chaitanya made the animals chant Hare Krishna, what should we try to do? Make the humans chant Hare Krishna. It's just as difficult because most human beings today are what? So when you tell them to chant, 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 what do they say? Can't, can't, can't. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan. And what happened in Vrindavan? Do you know? He was so happy to be there. All the animals, the trees, they all realized this is Krishna, Nanda Nandan, who has come back to us. And Lord Chaitanya was feeling so much ecstasy. So much ecstasy. He was in so much ecstasy, it was very hard for him to leave there. But gradually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went back. And on his way back, he met the famous devotees Rupa and Sanatan. And he instructed them in the science of love of God. Rupa Goswami instructed on the way to Vrindavan, and Sanatan Goswami on the way back. And then he went to Puri. And when he was in Jagannath Puri, he stayed there for many years. And he was always with two devotees especially. Ramananda Roy, who is who? Vishaka in Krishna's Leela. And his secretary, the secretary of Lord Chaitanya, Swarup Damodar. Who is that? Lalita Devi in Krishna Leela. So Lord Chaitanya was always with Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar. Just as Radharani was always with Lalita and Vishaka. And what were they doing all the time? What was Lord Chaitanya doing? Always remembering Krishna. Always remembering Krishna. Always feeling so much separation. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Just when Radharani was feeling separated from Krishna, she would always be singing, where is Krishna? And Lalita and Vishaka would tell her so many songs and nice activities of Krishna just to make her mind pacified. So Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of who? Radharani. So he's feeling exactly as Radharani is feeling. And Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy were always telling him so many pastimes of Krishna and Radha so that he would become pacified. So the teachings of Lord Chaitanya are the highest teachings of all. What are these teachings meant to give us? Krishna Prema. They are meant to teach us how to love Radha and Krishna in separation. Now we are separated from Krishna. We cannot see Krishna. But if we follow the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, then we will be able to be rejoined again with Radha and Krishna. So this is the end of today's lecture. And we would like to suggest to all of you today, so many of you have attended our program. How many people here have been to all 6 lectures? Let me see. Raise your hands, please. I can't see. Don't give me one of these. Well, up here. Up, 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 up. Up, higher. That's still not high. This is high. Okay. How many people went to 5 lectures? 4 lectures. That's pretty good. 3 lectures. 2. Only today. Oh. You're all welcome on this day. So, if you have gone to our lecture at least one time, in other words, all of you have been at least one lecture, I shall request you as follows. That the purpose of these lectures was to bring us to the point of Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Krishna. What is the easiest way to become devoted to Krishna in this age? Chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. How many people chant Hare Krishna every day, at least sometimes? Raise hands. How many kids brought their chanting beads today? Raise your hands. I asked you all to bring them. How many? Let me see. Raise your hand. Did you bring your chanting bead? Okay. Bring me some extra chanting beads. Now there are some simple requests I have. This is a yajna, right? Bhagavad Gyan Yajna. From a yajna we expect, get me some other chanting beads. From a yajna we expect to get some result, right? So there are some things which I shall request everyone today. What are they? I will tell you. I request that everyone who has come to this yajna will agree that every day they will chant at least one time Hare Krishna around on the mala. This is called japa mala. And there are how many beads on the mala? These are tulsi. Anyway. 108. How many gopis, principal gopis are there? 108. So how many Upanishads? 108. Okay? So I will request that everyone here is going to chant every day at least one mala. How do we do it? Like this. Oh, pay attention. Do we chant silently or out loud? Which is better? How many say silently is better? How many people think out loud is better? Okay. When you chant silently, who is hearing? Your mind, right? Can your ears hear silent chanting? At night, when a thief comes in your house, and he's going to steal all of your gold, how will you save yourself? By what means? And you are fast asleep. How are you going to save yourself? By seeing him? Smelling him? Tasting him? Touching him? What is the only way you might save yourself? Hearing him. In this age, hearing is the most important thing of all. When you chant silently, can your ears hear anything? Can anyone else hear you when you chant silently? But when you chant out loud, who else will hear? So many can hear. And at least you will hear. When you are chanting in the mind, is anything else going on in the mind? Just like now, we will make an experiment. Everybody, sit up straight. Now, I want you to try to meditate. Okay? What you're going to do is that we're going to meditate for 10 seconds. During those 10 seconds, I'm making a very easy experiment. I could have said for 10 hours. For 10 seconds, I want to see if you can keep every thought out of your mind. And I don't want anything else to go in your mind during those 10 seconds. Okay? You're going to close your eyes and you're going to be silent for 10 seconds, and I don't want you to think of anything. Don't think of Disney World. Don't think of ice cream splits. Don't put anything in your mind. Clear your mind. Don't think about going to work on Tuesday. Right? Don't think about all the bills that you have to pay. Clear your mind. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, stop. Did anybody have nothing on their mind? Raise your hands. Okay, a few kids and about 3 adults. Okay, now we're going to make another experiment. Right? Now we have proven that some people are able to meditate on nothing, which is pretty amazing. Now we're going to see how we can meditate on Krishna silently. So in the next 10 seconds, sit up straight. Okay. In 10 seconds, we're going to clear our mind of everything and only chant Hare Krishna in the mind, but don't chant out loud. Right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, begin. Okay. How many people were able to remember Krishna a little bit while doing this? Raise your hands. Very good. Okay, now, the next experiment, this is the last one. Sit up straight. We're going to meditate on Krishna's name, but out loud. And we're going to all chant it together, right? And you have to try to remember Krishna. And we're going to follow my chanting together. We're going to do it all at the same time, okay? 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How many people were able to remember Krishna? Raise your hands. Now, which is easier way? To do it silently or to do it out loud? You all found that? I won't even ask the adults. I trust your judgment more than theirs. Actually, it is easier. Chanting silently is for when you become very, very advanced. Haridas Thakur, who was a teacher of chanting, he used to chant 3 lakhs of Harinam every day. For about 22 hours he would chant. 1/3 he did very loudly, 1/3 he did softly, and 1/3 silently. So we should not think that we are so advanced that we can chant silently. First of all, we should learn to chant out loud. How loud should it be? Not as loud as I did before. That is called kirtan, just like we have our famous kirtan singer Madhavananda, who is a very loud kirtanier. Right? You hear it every evening, always chanting loudly. That is called kirtan, right? And japa is different. Here's how loud you should chant japa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Like this. Softly. But loud enough that your mind is not louder. This is the point. When you chant silently, the mind is also talking, and there's some interference, right? Cross signals. So the japa has to be loud enough. If you find that your mind is still worried about paying bills, still worried about all the other problems, then you have to chant louder. You should chant as loud as it is required to get over the mind. Understand? This is one request I have of everyone. That every day, 1 mala. How long will it take you? Maybe 10 minutes maximum. Tell me, how many people promise from today onwards at this Bhagavad Gyan Yagna that from now on they're going to chant 1 mala every day? Raise your hands. I should ask how many don't promise to raise their hands, but I won't embarrass you. All right. That's my first request. What is my second request? that there is Ekadasi twice a month. Do you know what Ekadasi means? Fasting from what? Grains and beans. On this day, all the sins come in the grains and beans. Therefore, when Lord Chaitanya asked his mother, she said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" He said, "There's only one thing I ask of you. Please follow Ekadashi." So following the request of Lord Chaitanya, I request all of you on the 2 Ekadasi days, don't eat grains and beans. You can eat so many other things. You don't have to fast entirely. You can eat milk products, you can eat vegetables, you can eat fruits, you can cook things in ghee, you can cook in oil that is not corn oil because it's a grain, but you can cook or eat raw things, doesn't matter. You can eat as much as you want, but don't eat rice, don't eat chapatis, don't eat bread, don't take dal. Avoid grains and beans twice each month on the Ekadasi day. We can give you a calendar if you need it to find out. And you will benefit greatly. How many people will promise from this day onwards to always follow Ekadasi? Raise your hands. Uh-oh. Some of you are not raising your hands. Some of you should be raising your hands. Oh, thank you. Okay. Now I have a third request. That every month you have to give something to Krishna. You are all working very hard. I think most of you are working hard. And you are earning something. Some portion of your earnings you should give for the service of Krishna. When I used to stay in India, people would take me to their home to show me their altar, their temple. Sometimes they would show me their temple altar, and they would go, a big house, marble floors, in the best Malabar Hill. You know Malabar Hill in Bombay? You know where that is? Big high-rise apartments, lakhs, crores of rupees it costs to live there. And they're on big marble floors, and they take me into their home to show me their, altar, and we go through all the rooms, and finally to the back room, and into the, closet, and opening the closet and pulling out one drawer, and there was this little altar about this big. That big. And they say, "See, we are devotees of God." And I say, "Sir, you are living in this mansion. You are living in this marble palace. And you mean you have put Krishna in this little place?" I thought Krishna was the Lord of this home. So similarly, people are earning so much Lakshmi, so much wealth. Who is Lakshmi belong to? Who? Only you think this? Nobody else believes that? I thought I had taught you this by now. Now you're all very intelligent. You're already thinking, we know what you're going to say. We're not going to answer these questions. Who does Lakshmi belong to? Who does Sita belong to? Who tried to take Sita from Ram? When you get Lakshmi and you don't offer Lakshmi to Narayan, then who are you like? Not Ram. Who? Ravan. Okay. Does everybody here want to be like Ram or like Ravan? We want to be like Ram? Not like Ram. Who is the one who is really we want to be like? Hanuman. Hanuman brought Sita back to Ram, and Ravana took Sita away from Ram. And Sita is Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi means the goddess of wealth. So if you get wealth, and you don't give that wealth to Narayan, or Ram, or Krishna, this is like Ravan. This is the policy of Ravan. So I request everyone here that every week or month, you must offer some portion of your wealth to Krishna. Now I have seen at the temple, every Sunday we have the arti, right? Right? And after, when we do the arti, what do we have? What is that? Ghee lamp, right? Ghee lamp. And we bring it around, and everybody makes their weekly offering. Right? They earn at least, maybe people earn $1,000 a week, or $600 a week, or some people earn $2,000 a week. And how much do they put on the plate? $1. What do you think? Is it a good thing? Rava. This is a miser. This is called what? Kripana. Do you know what the word kripana means? A miser. What is a miser? A Scrooge. What is the meaning of the word Scrooge? Come on, you must have all heard of this word, Scrooge or miser. What does it mean? Someone who has so much money, but what does he do with his money? Keeps it for himself. Now, when you have wealth, what should you want to do with this money? You should use it for the best purpose. Someone who doesn't do that is called duratma, cripple-minded. And a person who knows how to use his wealth by offering it to Krishna, what is he called? What is the name of this hall? Mahatma, great soul. So you should become great souls. Everybody should think, let me make some regular pledge to Krishna. If I'm earning, you know how Christians do. What do they do with their income? How much percentage do they give? Come on, you know. What's the percentage? Please answer my question. 10%. And Hindus, who pride themselves in being first-class religious people, what percentage do they give? I don't think most give 10%. But actually, who is the wealth really belonging to? God, the Supreme Lord. So my second or third request is, I'm not going to even ask you to raise your hand, but I'm going to appeal to you that you kindly go and meet with our temple authorities sometime. You meet our president, Shamsundar. You meet Madhavananda Prabhu, who's in charge of our fundraising projects. And you speak with them and make some program where you can give some portion of your earning. Why? Why am I saying this? Because we need your money? Frankly, no. Because you need to give your money. Because that money is full of karma. That's the real fact. Do you know how much Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised his followers to give? 50% of their income. Vedic statement says to give 50%. Can you do it? I don't think so. So I'm not giving a percentage to you, but I'm saying that the money you earn is full of karma. If you don't give some part of it to Krishna, you get the karma for it. It's impossible to earn money purely in this age. It has got sin in it. Therefore, you have to purify it by offering some portion to Krishna. Now, you can see I spent a lot of time talking about money, didn't I? Much more than the other. You know why? Because there are 4 things you can give. What is the most valuable thing you can give? What? Your life. Did I ask anyone to give their life today? What's the next most dear thing to give? Wealth. That I was talking about. What comes after that? One's words. And then? Is it words or intelligence? First comes intelligence and then words. So it's easiest to give your words. That's why I'm saying I just spent a little time about the chanting, right? But giving one's wealth is next to giving one's life. So I had to spend more time because there's more surrender. Okay, now, who has their chanting beads here today? Raise hands. Which children don't have chanting beads? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay, kids who don't have chanting beads, come up and take one mala. Right here. See Gopinath. If you don't have chanting beads, come up and get them. Into this margin of the middle of this finger, right? This finger, okay? This is 1. 1, 2, 3. Pinky finger on the bottom. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you see how I did that? You use the lines on your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That, as soon as you finish that 10, that is 1 over here. This is 10 on the left hand. Then you do another 10, then it's 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's 100 when you can finish 10 on this hand. And then 8 more makes how much? Okay, so now if you don't have your mala, you can do it. And if you can't figure out what I just did, never mind, just chant with us. Okay, children, are you all ready? Which bead are we going to start with? This one? Look, everybody hold your beads like this. Who is this bead? Radha and Krishna. Are we going to chant on that bead? No. Find the next bead that is the biggest bead. The biggest one. No. I didn't mean that. Listen. Find the bead that comes after the top bead. Okay? And hold it between your thumb. Look at me. Hold it between the thumb and the middle finger. Like this. Look. Go like this. You have it? Between the thumb and this finger. Okay? And we're going to chant on this bead. And when we chant, which hand? Right hand or left hand? Right hand. Are the beads touching the ground? No. Okay. And where are we going to go after we finish chanting on this bead? To the next bead, right? Like this. Look. 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 Like that, right? Okay, now let's begin. Get back to the first beat. Are we going to chant together? Okay, here we go. Ready? On your mark. No, it's not a race. We're not going to race. All right? And what are you going to be thinking about? You don't even have to think. You just listen. Don't worry about thinking. Now you just hear very nicely Krishna's name. Okay? Everybody hold your beads up? Okay. Here we go. Now let us begin. You all chant with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A little faster. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Out loud. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Out loud. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, louder. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram. Little faster. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare. Gaur Premanandi. Now, we have to take a photograph because all of you have been very good chanters. So I want all of you to come up here and we will take a photo together. Now listen, we have to do this the smallest up where? In the back or the front? Now how's that? Why don't you go on the video, why don't you go on the chair? You'll get a better shot. Okay. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Put your hands up. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Very good.